When people come to St Michael's, they get a surprise. I hope they do. Because as soon as they walk in the door, they might just say, oh, we didn't quite expect this.
It's easy to underestimate how valuable this place is, because there's a lot of people who would have not had a spiritual dimension to their life if St Michael's wasn't here. It's been able to allow people to reconstruct a belief system and a way of thinking that would not have otherwise been possible.
It's often hard to relate religion to everyday life and see where you're going, what you're intending to do. But I found that the way Dr. Macnab produces the outcome of integrating psychology and awareness of how people behave as to how they can relate that to a religious experience. And that's probably the main feature I found to keep me going at St Michael's.
Of course, many of you would know that this church was once called the Collins Street Congregational Church, the Collins Street Independent Church. Now again, thanks to the architects and people within the congregation, we were able to renovate this whole place, top to bottom.
I can remember when we first came to St Michael's, it wasn't all bright and open like this. It was a very old, it was the independent church, Collins Street Independent Church, and it was very dark and gloomy, and the organ was just here, and the choir stalls were here, and it was, and very dark pews and everything. And so he opened up the church with the more modern architecture, and then the windows that were put around the ground floor of the church, they're very significant contribution to the architecture of the church. I think, there was the physical side of changing St Michael's, but also making St Michael's relevant to the current community of Melbourne.
We started the bigger programs of SAGE for older people between the ages of 55 and 105 years of age.
Having come here a few times, I felt as distinct from other religious places. I didn't feel I was a hypocrite. What I thought and what he thought, I don't say great minds think alike, but certainly I was comforted by the attitude that he had towards religious belief, and that was the starting point for my time here. Well, they've all been good memories, but I guess one of the important ones was the establishment of St Michael's medallions, and that's significant. It's continued on from there, and I'm grateful for Dr. Macnab having appointed me the first chair of the selection group for that particular medallion program.
The gardens were a disaster, and they looked like it, so we decided along the way to restore or to revamp the gardens. We did so, we've done so again and again, and today I think that a marvellous exhibition of what can happen in terms of making a building look as if it's cared for, lived in, colourful, and there's a great presence of quietness about the gardens. We said we'd put in Mingary. I suggested to the congregation and the council that many people were suffering hugely from trauma in this town, in this country. I'd like to put in a sculpture in the place to help people sit for a while and recover their equanimity or their inner harmony.
started working with Dr. Macnab in February 2000, so it's been 16 years. Mingary was a quiet place and the rest was an idea. So everything that's happened around the quiet place has happened since then in terms of programs, workshops, the counselling service, helping carers as part of the Coracle program. All of that happened over that time. Dr. Macnab has an ability to take ideas that might be complicated or inaccessible to people and turn them into something that's very accessible and useful to anybody.
Those who wanted to hold on to the old, rudderless religion were soon being outnumbered by those who knew intuitively, as well as from a studied reflection, that a new and relevant religion was needed. And so we began the exploration of what I began to call the new faith. Christianity must change or die. The Ten Commandments in the Old Testament are negative. And do you know something? Jesus thought so too. Being Christian meant being good, and if you're not good, the focus then turned to your sin and your guilt and the need for God's forgiveness. Is we need to question that view.
Dr. Macnab has allowed people to actually say out loud probably what they had thought for a long time. You know, that they're not sure about that, or they don't believe that, or they struggle with that thought or this thought, or, you know, they're not sure if they believe in God or what is the God that they believe in. And what he has done is he's given permission.
A religion that is relevant, a religion at its best, is a religion that nurtures the best emotions, the best feelings, that encourages the best humanity, that keeps us focused on educating and nurturing and encouraging people to be amongst the beautiful people of the world.
When I think of Dr. Macnab, I think of the journey is in some ways to move beyond the secondhand religion, which everybody has said, this is what you must believe, this is what you should believe, this is how you should be, towards a spirituality that makes sense, towards a spirituality that helps you live your life in a full and meaningful way.
Dr. Macnab has been instrumental in delivering a brand new version of religion, if you like. He's been able to merge psychology and spirituality together and be able to make them meaningful in a way that others haven't been able to.
You know, he's contributed a lot to the community of Melbourne and to the, you know, he's built the St Michael's community into what it is.
And he's incredibly widely read, and has a really good ability to take all those ideas and synthesise them into something very inspiring and useful, and I think that's why people come back to keep listening to him and reading his books and attending lectures and all the rest of what he does.
As I unfold the various things that have happened in the 45 years, I do want to emphasise, you could easily conclude that this is just one ego trip for me to tell you what sort of things I did. But let me correct you immediately. None of this could have happened without a vast number of people being involved, not only today in the present church, but in the period, year after year, the numbers of people who have been involved in helping remodel, rebuild, reconstruct, reshape this church.
Well, it's a feeling of being in a community of like-minded people who have the same views and values of introducing a religious life into their normal day experiences without the overlay of some of what might be described as the fundamentalist view of religion.
My memories of St Michael's are many. It's not one, but it ranges from the words that are spoken. I can still remember addresses from even years ago that still have a place in my mind and in my heart.
Maybe religion needs to undergo a second transformation, similar in scope to the transition from hunter-gatherer religion to that of settled societies. In this new configuration, religion will retain all its old powers of binding people together for a common purpose, whether for morality or defence. It would touch all the senses and lift the mind. It would transcend self, and it would be a way to be equally true to emotion and to reason, to our need to belong to one another and to what has been learned of the human condition through rational inquiry.